Jacob Fatu did not just get suspended. Jacob Fatu got erased. And the people who did it are the same people who spent 6 months telling you he was the future of WWE. Let that sink in. The Samoan Werewolf, the most physically terrifying, emotionally explosive, legitimately unpredictable force WWE has had on their roster in years, has been handed a suspension so severe, sources are describing the backstage atmosphere after Raw as a funeral. Not a locker room, a funeral. People walking on eggshells, conversations happening in whispers, and at the center of it all, Triple H and Adam Pearce, two of the most powerful men in professional wrestling, making a decision that has the entire industry asking one question. Did they just kill the best thing they had? Because here's what you need to understand before we go any further. This was not a standard disciplinary action. This was not a quiet, take a few weeks off and cool down situation. What happened backstage after that Raw was a confrontation so explosive, so raw, so completely unscripted that even people who have worked in WWE for over a decade say they have never seen anything like it. The kind of moment where you look around the room and realize the wrestling business just changed in a way nobody can walk back. Drop your answer in the comments right now. Do you think Jacob Fatu's suspension was deserved, or is this WWE protecting the wrong people? Let's see where Wrestling Zone 1 stands. Now let's talk about what actually happened, because the timeline of events leading up to this moment is not what WWE's PR machine wants you to believe. Jacob Fatu had been building tension backstage for weeks. Multiple sources, and we're talking credible names here. People whose information has been verified time and time again by Dave Meltzer, by Fightful Select, by PW Insider, all painting the same picture. Fatu was frustrated, deeply, genuinely, legitimately frustrated. Not because he's difficult, not because he's unprofessional, but because he was promised a direction. He was promised a push that meant something. He was told his character, the Samoan Werewolf, this absolute monster of a performer who can do things in that ring that defy physics and logic, was going to be given the platform it deserved. And then, week after week, the booking shifted. Opportunities were redirected. His storyline stalled in ways that made no creative sense. And here's the part that really lights a fire under any real wrestling fan. The people getting the spots Fatu should have had? Part-timers, nostalgia acts, names from 15 years ago who were brought in to pop a rating for one night and then disappear, while younger talent gets buried under the weight of WWE's obsession with the past. Fatu reportedly confronted people backstage about this, more than once. He made his frustration known through the proper channels first, and when those channels produced nothing but corporate non-answers, something snapped. Has WWE's addiction to nostalgia and part-timers destroyed more young careers than any other decision they've made in the last decade? Comment below. I genuinely want to know what you think. The Raw in question, the night everything came to a head, started with Fatu already on edge. Sources describe him as intensely focused going into the show, which in wrestling means one of two things. Either someone is locked in and ready to deliver something special, or someone is one bad conversation away from walking out of that building and never looking back. What happened in the gorilla position, for those who don't know, that's the area directly behind the entrance curtain where final decisions get made, has been described differently depending on who you ask. But here's where the accounts align. There was a change made to Fatu's segment, last minute, a creative decision that directly impacted how his character was going to be presented that night. And Fatu found out about it the way no performer should ever find out about something that affects their livelihood, at the absolute last second, with no explanation, no discussion, no respect given to someone who has bled for this company. His reaction was not quiet. And that reaction, That human reaction from a performer who had been pushed to his limit is what Adam Pearce and Triple H responded to with a suspension. Not a conversation, not a mediation, a suspension. If you were Jacob Fatu and you found out your segment was changed without warning minutes before you walked through that curtain, what would you have done? Be honest. Drop it in the comments. Now here's where this gets bigger than just one man and one night. Because this situation with Jacob Fatu is a symptom. It is not the disease. The disease is a culture inside WWE Creative where decisions are made from the top down with almost zero accountability to the performers executing those decisions in front of millions of fans. Where last-minute changes are treated as normal. Where the people putting their bodies on the line every single week are expected to absorb whatever chaos the booking team produces and smile while doing it. How many times have we watched this play out? How many times have we seen a talent get red hot, genuinely, organically? The fans are responding, the merchandise is moving, the social media is exploding, and then watched WWE Creative either drop the ball completely, pivot to someone safer, or just let the momentum die because they couldn't commit to a direction. Sami Zayn waited years for his moment. Bronson Reed was released right when he was finding his voice. Karrion Kross got called up, destroyed, sent back, rebuilt, and is still waiting for someone in that building to truly believe in him. And now Jacob Fatu, a man who had the entire wrestling world buzzing, is sitting at home because the system failed him and then punished him for reacting to being failed. That is the story here. Not just the suspension, the system. Question 4. Name one WWE talent right now, just one, that you believe is being criminally underutilized. Drop the name in the comments. Let's build a list they cannot ignore. Let's talk about Triple H specifically, because the narrative around Triple H since he took over creative has been almost entirely positive, and for a while it was earned. NXT under his vision was genuinely one of the best things in professional wrestling. His early decisions as head of creative for the main roster showed real promise. There was a sense that someone finally understood that the future of this business was in the performers WWE was developing, not the legends they were borrowing. But what this situation reveals is that even Triple H, even the man the internet crowned as wrestling's savior, is not immune to making the exact same mistakes Vince McMahon made. Because Vince's greatest sin was never stupidity. It was arrogance. It was the belief that the machine mattered more than the people powering it. That the brand was bigger than the talent. That any single performer, no matter how gifted, no matter how over, could be replaced or suspended or cooled off without consequence. And now we have Triple H and Adam Pearce, the new regime, the supposed change, making a decision that feels like it came straight out of the old playbook. The question you have to ask yourself is simple. If Jacob Fatu cannot get protected by this regime, who can? Do you still believe Triple H's creative vision is better than what we had under Vince McMahon? Or has this situation changed how you see his leadership? This is a big one. Drop your honest take below. Here's what happens next, and pay close attention because this is where it gets genuinely dangerous for WWE. Jacob Fatu is 29 years old. He is built like something from another dimension. He has the Anoa'i bloodline, the look, the athleticism, and most importantly, the IT factor. The undefinable quality that makes a camera find someone automatically in a crowd. The thing you cannot teach and you cannot manufacture. You can suspend that, but you cannot own it. And there are other promotions, not just AEW, not just TNA, but international promotions, Japanese promotions, companies with deep pockets and the willingness to let performers be exactly who they are, who are watching this situation very carefully, who understand exactly what Jacob Fatu represents, who would not make him wait in a gorilla position for a last-minute script change with no explanation. WWE has a window, a limited, rapidly closing window to handle this the right way, to bring Fatu back with a purpose, with a direction, with the kind of booking that makes him feel like the investment he actually is. If they miss that window, if pride and politics and the machinery of corporate professional wrestling decide that making an example matters more than making a star, they will lose him. And when they lose him, they will spend the next 3 years watching him become something transcendent somewhere else, and pretending they always knew he had potential. We have seen this movie before. We know how it ends. Realistically, if Jacob Fatu became a free agent tomorrow, which promotion do you think would use him best? AEW? NJPW? TNA? Someone else? This could genuinely happen. Let's hear your answer, because at the end of the day, at the very core of everything we talk about on this channel, professional wrestling lives and dies on one thing: authenticity, the real emotion, the real stakes, the feeling that what you are watching matters. Jacob Fatu made wrestling feel like it mattered. Every time that man stepped through the curtain, something changed in the air. The crowd felt it. The cameras caught it. You felt it at home through your screen. That is not common. That is not something you find in every performance center class or every set of tryouts. That is rare. And rare things, when broken, do not always come back together the same way. Triple H and Adam Pearce made their decision. Now they have to live with what comes next. And so does every fan who invested in Jacob Fatu as the future. Final question, and this one matters most. Do you think Jacob Fatu comes back to WWE stronger after this? Or does this suspension permanently damage the relationship between him and the company? I want every single one of you to answer this right now in the comments. If this situation made your blood boil, if you are sitting there right now thinking, this is exactly what is wrong with WWE, then you already know what to do. Smash that like button so hard this video reaches every wrestling fan who needs to hear this truth. Share this with someone who still believes WWE always gets it right, because they need a reality check. Drop your answers to every single one of those questions in the comments, because this conversation does not end here. It starts here. And if you are not subscribed yet, what are you doing? This channel does not sugarcoat. This channel does not protect the machine. This channel tells you exactly what is happening, why it matters, and why you as a wrestling fan deserve better than what WWE keeps giving you. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. Because the next time something like this happens, and in this business there is always a next time, you need to be here when it breaks. Jacob Fatu's story is not over, but what WWE does in the next 30 days will determine whether it ends in triumph or tragedy. And Wrestling Zone 1 will be here for every single second of it.